We are live. We're not Facebook Live.
We are live?
We are not Facebook Live.
Oh, okay.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
I'm Barrett Freeman.
I'm Tanya Freeman.
Yeah, we'll figure out the kinks as we go along. We're going to do a little video today. I'm a broker here in Corbin, Kentucky. We sell real estate for buyers, sellers. We represent investors as well throughout every county in Kentucky. We have currently over 140 listings in 50 different counties in Kentucky. I'm also a lawyer. I do personal injury in Corbin. I spend about 40 hours a week doing personal injury, and I spend about 10 hours a week doing realty, and I spend another 10 hours a week on our own property business where we buy houses and apartments, and then we put renters in them, and then we manage them. So that's a little bit about my background. Do you want?
Actually, they decided that some of the younger teachers probably needed the money more than me. So it was probably a little bit of, yeah, which I appreciate the thought of that, but not really. Just kidding.
You like money like everybody else?
Yeah, so I guess.
Okay. What about after your teaching?
I started working for a personal assistant for my previous broker. So I put on, worked on his listings. I did all the photographs, the listing descriptions, just whatever he needed me to do. And then that was in 2014, and I was writing the commission checks. So I thought, I think this is probably what I want to do. That's what I did. I got my real estate license, started practicing in 2016. I still worked for my broker as a personal assistant for a little while, and then I thought, I could do one thing great, but two things kind of multitask. I felt like I was not giving my clients the attention that they needed. So I decided. You saw
these commission checks going out the door, and you said, "Hey, I could do that."
That's exactly right. Yes. So
the funny thing about in realty too is you don't get a regular paycheck, but when you do get one, the numbers are pretty big.
Yes.
So
I heard someone say that being an agent is the only job where you go to bed and wake up unemployed every day. So
that's a horrifying way to put it.
It is, but
it's probably the right mentality.
Yeah.
If you're not grinding every day, you're not making money in real estate.
Yes, so that's exactly right. So, and you got to remember that whenever you are doing a transaction, the transaction is going to be, from start to finish, an average of 45 to 60 days. So you get something in the contract, you don't get paid till you're at the closing table.
Yeah, there's no dancing. You're just sitting there, sitting on your hands, waiting for everyone else to do the job, the banks, the appraisers, the inspectors, and then finally at the very end, you get your check, and we don't even send our agents half the time to their closings anymore, so then you're waiting on the mail to run, so it's painful.
Yeah, so I do go to the closings if I can.
I want the agents to go.
Yeah.
It's good photo opportunity. The buyers usually feel like it's nice to have someone holding their hand, even though the closing agent's doing everything. You're just sitting there smiling, acting like you're at value somehow.
Yes. I've been to closings where the lender shows up too, which is kind of cool. Because, the lender is usually, the lender's never the closing agent. Usually it's a title company, maybe an attorney. But it is kind of cool whenever the lender shows up as well, just kind of support their client. So.
Have you ever gotten to closing and it didn't close?
No, but I have gotten to closing, or I've gotten to about a week before closing. So there's a few things that your lender is supposed to tell you, but there's a lot that goes into this, and some things get missed. So when you get under contract, when you get pre-approved, there's a few things that you don't need to do, and one of them is
expert.
Yeah, you don't open a new credit card. So if you go to the department store and they say you save $30 a day, or if you open a credit card, don't do it. It can change your debt to income ratio.
So that's super.
Yeah,
That's super scary.
it is.
Because I'm
they-
tempted by one of those about every day.
Yeah.
I've got like a Brooks Brothers like card that only has like $500 on it. That
Yes.
just got me.
Oh yeah, well that they give you 10%
It's
or
probably
20%.
it's probably saved me a lot of money over time. But I
Yeah.
could see I could see somebody getting bid by that. That's
Yes.
interesting.
Now, if you're going to do it, wait till after you close. The other thing you don't want to do, I had someone actually call me. It was a little over a week before closing, and they were at a furniture store and were going to buy all new furniture for their house. And it was a couple. They were going back and forth about whether this sectional would fit. So they decided to call me, wanted to know if I could call and get the dimensions. And I was like, before you do this, how are you paying for this? And I'm asking for a reason. Is it cash or are you charging it? And they said, well, we're charging it.
Financing that bed.
Yeah. I said, okay, so call your lender, and it's probably okay, but call your lender just to make sure that it's okay. Sure enough, they called the lender from the furniture store, and they said, put the brakes on, don't do this. It will change your debt to income ratio and it will knock you out of financing. And this was where we had a closing date scheduled. Had they not called me to ask for those dimensions, it would have canceled the.
This is one of those lessons. You learn the hard
and
way.
the lender should tell you all that stuff, but there is so much that even I have done just routinely that I forget too. And there's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it. So I do try to remind my buyers.
Educate the buyers.
Yeah, and most of the time they'll say, "Yeah, my lender told me that," but sometimes it just gets overlooked.
Well, lenders I typically deal with in the commercial side, they're used to the sophisticated buyer, whether you are sophisticated or
Yeah.
not, whether you bought one or 100, they treat all commercial guys
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
And we're a little bit. So I'm on the commercial side. Obviously, I've never bought anything in my own name. We have a LLC, Freeman Properties, and so all of our deeds it says Freeman Properties on it. So we're under way less scrutiny. I don't have to. Basically, they want to see our tax returns every year, and maybe every 6 months they'll ask us to update our financial statement. And really, they're just making sure we're still bringing in the rent. We said we were bringing in, that we haven't bought or sold anything that we haven't told them about. And Blake and I are buying stuff. I mean, we're buying 2 houses a month right now, so our financial situation is changing monthly. So I bet we have to update our financial statement every 6 months, but even that's a huge undertaking.
Mm-hmm.
We can't remember all the deals we made just because it's a revolving door. I mean, if we see a house in Corbin, London, Barberville, Williamsburg, and someone says, "Will you take a look at it?" we say yes every single time.
Right.
I had a girl in Barberville recently just messaged me. I probably about once a week I get a message from somebody on Facebook saying, "I've got a house. I hear you buy houses. We come look at it." I've never once said no.
Right.
And if I don't buy it, we've got 4 or 5 investor groups I talk to. I was just on the phone with before we started recording with one of our investors out of Louisville, and I told him about that house, and he's jumped all over it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll buy it or not, but he will buy it if it's for sale. The problem with Facebook, like anything else on social media, you're not dealing. It almost feels like you're not dealing with a real person.
Mm-hmm.
You send a message, and they may get back to you, they may not, and then that person was like, "Well, actually, I've got somebody coming looking at it." I was like, "Well, we just had a 10-minute message conversation on Facebook."
Yeah.
So when I finally said I'm ready to go look at it that same day, it wasn't like I put her off for 3 days. I was
Yeah.
like, I'll come look at it 5:15 today. She's like, "Well, I'm actually having someone come look at it." I said, "Okay, that's fine." I want her to tell her friends. I talked to Barrett Freeman, talked to Tanya Freeman. They said they'd come look at it. That stuff in small towns, especially, the word of mouth is so powerful. I think it's powerful. I don't know.
Definitely.
I know you get a lot of referrals just because you've been in the game, 7 years
Most of
now.
my business right now is referrals, and it's taken me, it took me probably, I'm going to say about 3 years to get to that point. I think the first year I got into real estate, everything I did
That's
kind of
actually a
paid
good
for
topic.
itself.
So
Yeah.
as far as actually how much you made every year, will you
Yeah.
talk about how that progressed from year 1 to
Yes.
today?
Yeah, I really don't have I need to do some like percentage of some.
Well,
math
how
on
did it
that,
feel, I
but-
guess?
Well, okay, the first year, I can imagine not having a different support. I had married, I got that support system. Had I not, and maybe I would have, not bought that purse.
Well,
I
if
don't
you were
know,
22, would you have starved to death your first year?
but, I would have struggled, yeah, because any new business is going to take you. In real estate, getting into real estate is a new business, so it can take 1 to 2 years to
Any
establish
business,
yourself.
any
Yeah,
business. Selling
And-
ice cream.
absolutely. So and you're ideally you're going to get in and make a profit the first year. What tends to happen is you get in it and you have to buy new signs, and your broker usually provides you with some.
I mean, we did with our agents because
Yes.
they didn't have $1 when they started.
Yeah.
Half of them.
Yeah.
And you have to be sensitive. I mean, obviously, your broker was sensitive to that. We
Yes.
definitely did that for our agents. I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine doing 22. I mean, otherwise you're borrowing it from mom and dad, which some people don't even have that support
Right.
system.
Or hopefully you have savings started.
Right
but-
out of college. Any savings?
Yeah, no, that's nothing. Yeah.
So your first year, what did it feel like?
The
do you
first
think?
year, I felt like it paid for itself.
Okay.
I don't think I lost the money, but whenever I did my taxes and I counted all my marketing and my gas, of course, we get that back, thank goodness, or we get a deduction on that. Just my business supplies that the broker didn't provide, and they, you definitely provide a lot. And my previous broker did as well. But we had realtor fees. If there's a difference between being a realtor and a real estate agent too, and that's a whole other podcast. But those fees, when you're first paying that out of pocket, it seems like a lot. But the tools that you get at being a realtor is so worth it. That your first closing is going to pay for itself. And again, we can go over all, what those differences are at another time because they're pretty significant.
Yeah, it's not negligible.
Mm-mm.
All right,
So-
so year 2, did it pick up?
Year 2, I made a little bit of money,
Okay.
yeah. But in my, defense, if this were somebody else, they probably could manage their money a little bit better than I did. Anything that was sparkly that come along, this new website or let's buy these leads or what, and I was like, oh, okay, So there's a lot of things that
It may or may not have added to the business.
probably not, yeah. And some of them did.
I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah.
We just paid for a lead information scraping service. They scrape Facebook and Instagram. Basically, if anybody says, "Hey, anybody know anything for sale?" It could be as weak as that, and then they'll send those
Yeah.
leads to us. And I'll let you know in a year if it
Yeah.
pays for itself. Probably not, but
Well, I don't know. I mean, I know it's a different market. I think after I was in real estate for, I guess the second year, I started buying realtor leads, and that first year, it really paid for itself.
But you're
The
talking
second year-
2015. That was everything was starting to recover from the
Yeah.
bubble, the housing bubble. So I mean, that was probably right at the beginning when things really started ramping up through 2022. I mean,
Mhm.
things had kind of settled
Yeah.
in the real estate market, and
Yeah.
because
So-
2010, well, before 2008, there was like 1.2 million realtors in America. When the housing crisis hit, it went down to like 600,000, and then starting out 2014, it started ramping back up till it went to 1.6 million realtors in 2020, and I bet this year it's going to.
I bet it is.
Fall off
I
a
know when
cliff.
I first started in our association. So the state of Kentucky, we have, I think there's 18 realtor associations. And when I first started in ours, I think, and my numbers may be off, but I think there was like maybe 2,000 realtors in that association, and now it's over 4. Yeah, and if I'm wrong about that, somebody can contact me, let me know, because I'm.
Well, the numbers
Probably
are. I think most people agree the numbers are going to fall off the cliff this year. I've talked to other brokers.
Mm-hmm.
We have access to the database of all the houses for sale in at least in our area,
Mhm.
and I'll regularly look at the other brokers in the 50-mile radius to see what their numbers are like as far as their listings. And I mean, unless you're one of the big players, you got 30 or less
Yeah.
And a lot of those are co-listed with the broker. So these poor agents, they're getting a percent of a percent of a percent of the final commission.
Yeah.
Those kids are definitely not making money. You have to have a day job to survive, and if you have a day job, you're not doing real estate, which means
That's true.
you're not making money in real estate.
Yeah, it's hard
Yeah.
to have a day job and do real estate because you cannot, can't be on top of it with your, when you
It's
have
a
buyers.
full-time job, even though it doesn't have a 8 to 5, frame of work. I mean, you're always kind of on. You might be sitting at home on the couch watching Netflix and responding to emails. And
Yes.
it's not for everyone too, because that's
Yeah.
not fun. Last night until about 9:30, I was responding to emails, about real estate, which I'm happy to do it, but that's what I
Yes.
signed up for it.
Right. So
So-
that's a good point because your first, for me, the first, I'm gonna say 3 years, I worked weekends. I mean, I still work weekends, but holidays, I'm a little bit more choosy now. I feel like I can be. But
Is that just
you
the
know,
confidence of experience, or
Yes, and I've learned a lot. I mean, I'll have other agents lined up, and like if I'm going to be out of town, or if I want to go to the lake because it's Memorial Day, I'll have another agent. If I'm working with a client, I'll have another agent take care of them for me, and we'll negotiate, a fee for that, and vice versa. So it's important, like when you're working with someone that. Especially in the market that we are in and just got out of. So once you have a buyer that wants to look at a house, you can't say, well, wait till I get back from the lake. You need to have something in line to be able to make sure that your client's taken care of. Because if they wait for you to come back, that house probably won't be there.
And that was 2022 all year. I'm sure you felt it, but 2023 is not like 2022.
No.
Things are not selling like they were before. My brother and I bought 5 or 6 flip houses, and they've been on the market for 4 months now.
Yeah.
And we got one under contract recently, we were so happy for that. But we got so much money tied up in these flips that we bought in 2022. You've got to remodel, and it takes time. So they're now on the market, and at the worst possible time. Fortunately, we have the resources to sit on them until we figure out what's going to happen. But
Right. And there's,
it's scary. 2022, you'd have 6 offers on the same day.
oh yeah.
You'd have people making offers they didn't even
Yeah.
see the house physically.
I sold them that way. Yeah, I mean, they didn't. They had lost so many houses, going into with the multiple offer situation because they lived out of state, that they would they didn't want to wait. They didn't want to lose the house again, so they would put in an offer sight unseen. Well, they would what was on the MLS.
Yeah, the realtor pictures
Yeah.
that they shoved on the MLS.
They were paying appraisal gaps. They were offering more than what the house was worth and paying appraisal gaps and waiving the home inspections. It's a crazy market.
We have a bunch of rental property, and we very regularly will have someone out of state just see the pictures of our apartments online and say we want it, because ours. Fortunately, the rental market's like 2022 still. We still get 100 calls a day of people wanting to rent from us.
I know.
So it's quick.
Phones refer to me sometimes.
We put something on
Yeah.
our listing website. We get 3 applications the same day. So these out-of-state people, same thing. They're like, we have to get it. They'll move from Phoenix or California. They'll see the apartment, they're not happy, or the house, they're not happy. And so
Yeah.
we have a rule now, which is unfortunate for the out-of-state people, but we don't rent to people unless they physically go.
Yeah.
It just happens almost every time.
Right.
In California, they see the pictures and everything looks shiny, and we've edited well. We're not hiding anything, but if you're coming from a urban area, suburban area, we're not that.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I remember doing drive-bys and videoing the house, the neighborhood, the road, how close the home would be to the road, and in photos, it's hard to get that dimension. Everything kind of looks flat. You don't see if it's rolling hills and all that. I cannot imagine buying a house sight unseen.
I guess you had to last year,
Yeah.
but it's the worst possible way. It's worth getting on an airplane and staying in a hotel for 3
Yeah.
days, 4 days,
Yeah, well, yes, but and the one people that I worked with did do that and still lost the house. So that's why they bought them sight unseen.
I see.
So, but I would make sure it's, I would say you're doing this against
Norms.
yeah, I don't suggest this. There's a lot could go wrong with this, and I'd have them sign waivers, and and they'd sign them.
I mean, so you did sell houses, the person literally did not see it from start to closing?
Yep.
They moved in after
Moved
closing?
in after closing, and I was actually the listing agent for a house that someone else brought the buyer. Well, just recently too. I mean, it's happened. I'm gonna say a handful of times. Not,
I guess you didn't hear of any buyer remorse ever? I guess they had to be
yeah,
happy?
I had one that was not very happy.
What'd they say? They just felt like they were pigeonholed into the wrong house, or like the house wasn't what they expected?
I was the seller's agent on that one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, thank goodness.
Yes.
So you didn't deal with it directly.
Yes.
Still not a good situation.
It's not. You want people to be happy, whether they're your clients or someone else's clients. You want them to be satisfied.
Yeah, of course.
You're talking about the days on market. Last year, days on market was like you'd go pending that day. And
Now it's like 30 days.
yeah, it's
I don't think that's an exaggeration.
It's gone up 14%. Days on market has in the state of Kentucky.
Wow.
But
I mean, I've experienced it anecdotally. We've had our houses on the market for 90 days, still not really sold. Fortunately,
I think that's about right as far as this, especially March. March has been a little bit different as far as our, Corbin. I'm just going to say Whitley County, I'm going to say Whitley. But every year or every month so far, the days on market's kind of gone, it's been a little bit longer. The new listings have gone down. However, the prices have consistently just gone up, about 3%. March, it's gone down for Corbin just a little bit. Everybody else in the area has pretty much gone up, but it's gone down. I think the median, it's gone down 13% for just March. Down February, it was up 3%, something like that.
well, we're feeling it.
Yeah.
So, well, it's been like 30 minutes. It's a good start to our first one.
Yeah.
So, but Freeman Brothers Realty, Tanya's our manager for the sales. Reach out to her if you want to buy or sell. Also, look us up on Facebook, Freeman Brothers Properties. It's kind of our umbrella company. We have all of our companies under that moniker. Otherwise, that's been us. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
And,
and if there's anything that you want us to cover, reach out to him.
Yeah, message me.
Or me, either one.
Yeah,
And
we're going
we'll
to try to
cover
do
it.
this about once a week. I mean, there's infinite topics in real estate, and we're attacking real estate every which way you can, so we have plenty to talk about. All right, thanks.